And we're back off a mini hiatus, just in time for the holidays. It's your favorite podcast host. Um, and there's a lot of, uh, actually, there's a chance we actually have a name for this podcast. We're thinking of going with That's the Truest Thing I've Ever Said podcast. Could be temporary, could be permanent, who knows? Lots gone on since we last spoke, as always. So, episode 13, here we go. So I got married, um, said very casually, and went on my honeymoon to Europe. The cruise was amazing, and the weather for both went off without a hitch somehow. So beautiful, so blessed, truly one of a kind experience. Um, I could talk a lot more about it, but maybe that's more of a podcast specific episode, but this is a lot more just kind of recap since the last time we spoke. So happy to divulge as much follow up on that, depending on any questions that we get regarding that. Next up, fantasy football. So I am in 4 leagues this year and commissioner in 2 of them. Always fun, always tough, always interesting. But this season has not been without its up and downs. I literally get shafted, hosed, however you want to refer to it as, in fantasy football so often that I actually have a running list of all the buffoonery that I have to deal with for each season since I've been tracking this. I want to say 5 years ago, which is kind of pathetic, but it's literally insane. So I have to actually document it. So as usual, top dog in some, mid tier in others, and may or may not be in the very bottom of one as well. Actually, I think that was last week. I think I'm like bottom 3 now. So we're moving up in the world. So we'll see how it shakes out. Speaking of football, I guess let's just dive in. The season has been a bit boring so far this year. The Chiefs are mid. Lamar Jackson, who I despise if you know or follow me on Twitter. Lamar Jackson was injured for a while. Then they started surging, and now they've kind of plateaued. Joe Burrow was out, and they were surging for a while and just got their first loss since he's been back. So they can't make the playoffs, but they're definitely feisty and happy to knock some of their divisional, nemesis out of the playoffs if they can. So they'll definitely still be fun to watch. 49ers mid. They were at least midway through the year. Mac Jones kept them afloat. I don't know how he did it. And now Brock is trying to work his way back from injury, doing halfway decent. So we'll see where they land. I think they still have a good chance to make the playoffs, even though they've been, not too sexy, not too flashy, just kind of middle of the road. But they got a couple built-in easy wins with their division. And then, Mac Jones saved their season, so God bless them. The Bills were hollow. They just, not the MVP follow-up year that I think Josh Allen was looking for. They had a big win today against the Bengals, so I think that kind of securely gets them a wild card spot. But it's crazy that they stumbled out of the gates so poorly that the Patriots are probably going to win that division. So all this, supposed trajectory that they had that they're trying to keep their footing on is literally just going to get them wild card spot. So definitely crazy. Rodgers and the Steelers. There's something missing. They did beat Lamar today and the Ravens, which was a big win for them to try to secure a playoff spot, or at least to win the division and definitely get home field advantage for at least one playoff game. There's still 4 weeks left in the season, though, so we'll have to see how the rest of that division and really the whole league shakes up with the last 4 weeks. But just nothing sexy, no, overwhelming storylines this year. So nothing really to write home about if you were to document this season. I certainly didn't expect the Bears and the Patriots to be at the top of their conferences this year, or just in any week of the year, if I'm being completely honest. But that's the kind of league that this is, and especially after the last decades that they've had, kudos to them. We'll see if they can, ride that till these last 4 weeks. The trade deadline did pass with the NFL. There was no big moves that were made. The Giants just fired their coach. God help us. um, he wasn't the problem is the worst part. So people gave Russell Wilson, after he lost a Mexican shootout to the Cowboys, they gave up on him. He also lost right after that to the Chiefs, who have been the best team in the league for the last 5-7 years. So that's not really fair. Then they lost their best wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, for the season. Then they lost their backup, very dependable he wasn't a first round pick this year. I think we got him in the 4th round, Cam Scatterbo. So we've just been subbing people in and out. Jackson Dart comes in. He gets evaluated for a concussion every 4, 5, 6 games that he's played this year. Like literally, if not every game, every other game. So he's a loose cannon with his style of play. We never had a chance despite all these injuries and everything, but yet and still, we've still been in almost every game this year, if not all, which has been basically our lot in life since the infamous Trey Songz, Odell Beckham yacht poster and picture that I'm sure we all remember from back in the day. So we're going to have to see how the rest of this season shakes out. We were the first team to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, which is just really tough. That's really saying something when there's teams like the Raiders, the Jets, the Titans, and the Saints. It's a really disappointing season, to say the least. But with that said, like I said, we lost our number 1 wide receiver, number 2 running back, and we are on our number 3 quarterback, or we were as of last week. So we put up fights in every game. Our idiot GM, Joe Shane, who put together this roster, previous year's rosters and everything in between, and he's the one that let Saquon Barkley go to our division rival for free, and they won a championship with him in his first year there. He's the one that needed to go, not the coach. I will say so. Daboll and Jackson Dart had a really good rapport. He's the one who lobbied for him in the draft room. And now, maybe we wasted a draft pick on Dart because whoever the new regime is might think it's too difficult of a lift. Then we lost 2-3 years and time and prospects on these draft picks, both previous years and current years, trying to steady the ship when we were really trying to look for clarity. And we would have gotten that if we left Daboll in one more year, or just passing on Dart entirely and just drafting him where we could have gotten him instead of trading up for him. So that might be a little too heady, might be a little bit too inside baseball/football, but that's the way I see it anyway. When we brought in Joe Shane, when the owner brought him in, he left him in too long. He knew the risks. He still signed him, still signed off on him, gave him basically the full green light. The owner's complicit in this, if not equally responsible, in my opinion. Now, I will say the Mara family is selling 10% of their team. I think they did that last year or during the offseason. Even more proof that they have one foot out the door. We're essentially becoming the Jets. The current Jets, the old Bills in real time, is just an absolute embarrassment. Now we're the midseason of Hard Knocks, the in-season one, I guess as you can call it. So now we can be on full display for the world to see. And with the Titans and Saints winning today, now we are officially the worst team in the NFL. And if the draft was today, we would have the number 1 overall pick. So as tough as that is, even good things can come out of bad situations. All right, that was a lot to info dump, at least on the Giants front, but we'll stay on the topic of football, at least for this last little bit before we segue to hockey. So Shedeur Sanders is finally getting some starting reps with Dillon Gabriel being out with a concussion. He and the Browns had a game this weekend against the Titans. I really thought they were going to do a good job wrangling the Titans because they're one of the worst teams in the league. The Browns have such a good defense, and it would be a good full intro game for Shedeur since last game against the Niners was kind of tough. and he would learn and grow and develop for the rest of this season and be a full-time starter and secure a roster spot next year. But they lost to the Titans. Although Shedeur, I will say, had 3 touchdowns and I think ran for another one. So he sure did his part. It was the Browns that let him down. But we'll have to see what the rest of the season holds for Shedeur. I can always circle back with you guys on that if you're interested. But like I said, on the subject of hockey, the Rangers stumbled out the gate this year. They steadied themselves, and then they hit a bit of a rush patch. And now they're kind of securing themselves once again. So we'll see what happens with their season. But what I'm more excited for than anything else is hopefully going to a Rangers game. This is their 100-year anniversary this year. So hopefully going to see them in Nashville next, I think in 2 weeks, which will be really fun. Just a quick drive up. And also what I'm excited for is the Winter Classic, which is the New Year's Day hockey game that the Rangers will be playing against the Florida Panthers, ironically in Florida. I think it's in the Panthers in Miami. I want to say they are, which is kind of absurd. But it'll be outside, which is really cool and fun. Hopefully it'll be, cold to where these guys aren't just sweating their keisters off. So that will be fun to check out New Year's Day as we're all kind of recovering on the couch. Hopefully not working. On the basketball front, I got to see Luka and the Lakers play live, which was really cool. LeBron was out. They got blown out by the Hawks, which was kind of pathetic, honestly. But not when you hear the team's overall stats. So the Atlanta Hawks, at one point in the game, were 60% from the field, 45% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. So in case you don't know how crazy of a stat that is, some players don't even average that for a season. Only, I think, 9 people ever have since basketball has been around for 75 years. So it just wasn't Luka and the Lakers' night. But with that said, the Lakers right now are top 2 in the West. The in-season tournament, a.k.a. the NBA Cup, starts in a couple days. So very excited about that. Hoping the Lakers capture another one of those in-season tournament NBA Cup titles. All right. So with that, we'll do some fast headlines here. Pennies. So the penny production in the United States has ended after 232 years. Apparently it costs 3.7 cents to make a penny. And a nickel is like 3 times as much as a nickel, which I guess is kind of on pace with the penny production. So nickels may be up next, but crazy, end of an era. If I find one, I think I'm actually going to start collecting them because they may be rare or cool someday. Let's see. MTV is officially shutting down on New Year's Eve this year, 2025. Talk about end of an era. Jeez Louise. Sad day. I will say this. I mean, if you're familiar with the song and the whole sort of lore behind it, if video killed the radio star, what killed MTV? Would it be streaming, I guess, since people didn't watch music videos? Although I will say I heard that Spotify may be bringing music videos, like literally playing the background of the music video to its app in the future. So it might be something to watch or at least be on the lookout for. The deal was approved for Warner Brothers to be purchased by Netflix. Now, that's still, I think I heard the DOJ still has to sign off on that, but it is, as of right now, a very polarizing deal and topic. Netflix are good in my book because they are the reason Breaking Bad didn't get canceled. They kind of revived that show and AMC and that whole Breaking Bad universe. They already stream the HBO catalog now. I think they kind of found a backdoor way to kind of purchase that, at least on a partial basis from Warner Brothers already. And they supported Zack Snyder's last 4 movies, side projects, and spin-offs. So if you really think about it, think what they can do with the Monsterverse, Game of Thrones, DC, the comic book genre, Harry Potter, Dune, The Matrix, Mortal Kombat, Lord of the Rings, and more. So I'm excited. I'm also hearing that WB Games is included in Netflix purchase as well, which means the game studios like NetherRealm, if you've heard of them, or Rocksteady, which owns one of, in my opinion, the greatest video game of all time, which is Batman Arkham Asylum. But it owns that whole, they're the creators of Batman Arkham series, would live within Netflix. So definitely interested to see how this pans out, but I'm excited for all parties, and I have faith. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully things will pan out the way that I think they will if the DOJ ends up signing off on that. Next headline, I guess it's the last couple really. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bucks forward, might get traded soon. Obviously, hoping he goes to the Lakers. I have seen some solid trade projects and packages and projections. I bet the Nets would be able to do something, but or at least now with the amount of draft picks that they finally have after literally since I've been in high school, they're finally recovered from that. But they wouldn't have enough solid pieces to put around him, so it'd kind of be irrelevant, I think. So curious where he goes. I'm hearing that maybe Atlanta might be on the market as well, so that'd be kind of cool. So this has kind of been like an online trend that I'm just going to talk about and kind of immerse myself in for a second. So something that was trending was that people were putting together their dream Lakers player starting five, almost like fantasy basketball, but like going back since the Lakers, I guess we're in Minneapolis, so a really long time. So mine would be Magic Johnson as a point guard, obviously. Kobe Bryant at the 2. LeBron at the 3. And this is going to be divisive, but Shaquille O'Neal at the 4 power forward spot with Kareem at the 5, the center spot. So I understand the arguments for Wilt, obviously, and for Jerry West at the point, but Shaq at the 4 is actually, I think, the smartest way to play it. I honestly believe this, I bet if we ran a simulation against any other team's greatest lineup, like the one that I just built, we would win against all of them, and we would win against any other constructed Lakers lineup, and we would have a better average amount of points and win percentage against the other Lakers teams' constructed lineups against other teams' GOAT lineups. So I know that's a lot to wrap your head around, but that's how I feel. I mean it. I said what I said. Boom, mic drop, end of story. So that's always fun. I'm glad that was kind of a cool little trend and headline, and let me know your thoughts on that one. I'd be interested to kind of have a back and forth on that if interested. Now, this is more of a full headline, just to kind of keep it in the realm of basketball. LeBron, after 1,200 games, didn't score 10 points in a game. Now, that includes games where he was injured and left for the rest of the game. Twice he stayed in to keep the streak alive, then subbed himself out after he hit the 10-point marker. So this streak has literally been since I was in high school. I am now 35. So definitely insane. Give LeBron his flowers on how long he was able to keep this one going. But apparently an even crazier stat, which I think this is one of my favorite all-time stats, LeBron has more finals appearances than games without scoring 10 points. Insane. But it's obvious that he's aging. He barely got 10 points the game prior to this. Obviously, his best buddy and ex-podcast co-host, Coach J.J. Redick, didn't sub him out until he got the 10 that prior game. But in this game, he quote-unquote forgoed the streak in the most LeBron way possible. So listen to this. He had 8 points. It's the end of the game, and the clock is winding down. He has a 3 open and available to him for like 0.5 seconds, but then he ends up being covered, and he hasn't pulled the trigger on it yet. So he ends up, instead of chucking and trying to get the 10 and trying to win and put all the pressure on his back, he ends up passing the ball to a teammate who is kind of open, kind of covered, but the teammate hits the three to win. So in the full LeBron fashion, you're getting the full LeBron gambit here. But it's so tough for me. I'm obviously not objective, but he just pretends like he's the most selfless player in basketball. He definitely can be, but he's really scared of those big moment shots. So it's like double. It's like he gets to play the selfless card and all that. I mean, I think I heard that he's fourth all time in assists. So it's obvious how good of a passer he is and how good his basketball IQ is. But he also gets to get out of having those big moment shots that made Kobe, LeBron, Magic, all these people kind of who they are, what they are. So it's just a cop out. It's so tough. It's how I feel. But LeBron is polarizing, and that's what happens when you're in the LeBron business. All right, so a couple quick hits. We'll kind of bounce back around, kind of all media. The Brooklyn Nets tell Michael Porter Jr. to chill out on specific topics when on podcasts. I think they're related to ladies and dating, but also I think like maybe UFOs. Honestly, can't remember. He's definitely went through quite the gambit of podcast and topics since he's been in Brooklyn/New York. So, Mac Miller and Madlib's collab album that was shelved ended up leaking on YouTube, and the songs that I heard so far are very good. This coming Friday, December 12th, Nas and DJ Premier have an album dropping. I have waited for this, when I tell you, since I was 11 years old. That is so accurate, it's actually kind of scary. Big L, my second favorite rapper of all time, and ironically Mac Miller's inspiration to begin rapping. Big L dropped a posthumous album last month. Very good. Check it out. Stranger Things final season came out. At least part one of it did. It was totally insane. Epic cliffhanger. Can't wait for Christmas now. On top of just it being awesome to be excited for Christmas, we get some Stranger Things content as well. If you're a Peaky Blinders fan, the movie had been announced for a while, but they announced the actual release date, which will be in March of 2026. So right around the corner, upcoming soon. Speaking of that same time frame, Euphoria, the final season will be coming out in April, 1 month later. So very excited about that. Supergirl, the movie that is spinning off kind of the Superman DCU James Gunn universe, will be releasing end of June of 2026, and the trailer is dropping, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. Taylor Sheridan, one of the greatest writers and directors of our generation, responsible for 1883, 1923, Yellowstone, Landman, and Lioness, on top of other incredible movies like Wind River and just so many more that I could just list. He is leaving his Paramount deal for Universal, which I find really interesting. And on that same topic, the Duffer Brothers, who are the creators of Stranger Things, are also leaving for Universal. So they must have some crazy package that they're offering these guys. So definitely excited what sort of content that they're going to start to bring with them at their new endeavor. I feel like they're going to want to come in packing a punch, kind of hit the ground running. So definitely excited about those. Oh, I forgot to say, Taylor Sheridan is directing the new Call of Duty movie as well. I don't know if it's specific for Universal or for Paramount, but I have played Call of Duty almost every day, I'm embarrassed to say, since I think I was 13 or 14. So I think you can understand to a marriage of two of my favorite things. Very exciting. And I think the last one that I have here for quick hits is Star Wars Episode 9 spin-off was written and submitted by an Academy Award-winning writer and director, but was turned down, and that was the first time that any Star Wars content had been pitched to the Star Wars team, at least since it's been to Disney, but I think maybe ever, and was turned down. So that's a little tough, especially when you kind of hear what the topic was about. If you're interested, check it out, and I'd love to kind of hash it out with you if you find it interesting or have some questions or feedback. All right, I know we normally traditionally do a couple, or at least one, did you know, but I have two for you here today. So, facts for you on this episode goes as follows. First one, in the 1930s, Al Capone's niece got sick from spoiled milk, prompting him to push for a change, which are expiration dates for potentially contaminated or eventually spoiling food and drink. So, using his political influence, Al Capone lobbied for a new law requiring bottle companies to stamp milk with sell-by dates, which had never been done previously. Not purely selfless, Capone did also have plans to move into the dairy industry, and cleaner milk would have meant more trust in the industry and whatever company he went with, as well as their profits potentially surging. But in the process, he sparked reform that stuck around long after his empire fell, and very much to this day, which we all love and appreciate. Second one is in 2015, actor John Malkovich and writer-director Robert Rodriguez made a movie and had it stored in a time capsule that is set to automatically open exactly 100 years after it was locked away, and it is even titled and aptly named 2115. Sad that I won't be able to see it. I love Robert Rodriguez. John Malkovich doesn't really do a whole lot of throwaway stuff, so would be definitely keen and curious to see that, but maybe I can press my potential children and potential grandchildren to keep their eye out for that one day, because pretty cool. I think it's a collab with a cologne company or alcohol company, but supposedly it's like a real movie. Maybe it's Louis Vuitton. I can't remember. Something like that. Probably should have wrote it down, but all the same. And we normally close out these episodes with a particular segment, things that I've tweeted. So I got some fun ones here for you. Shout out Spotify for massively overhauling their production credit section. I did love that. I did appreciate that. It's a lot more thorough and a lot less gaps in data and information and people, which I definitely appreciate. It helps me kind of track artists, producers, writers, musicians, and kind of check out their catalog. So very cool. Korn, the band, could score a film, and they would do it well, by the way. Wow, do I stand by that. That is... oh, especially with the way Daft Punk and Nine Inch Nails and all these people have kind of been going about that. And Nine Inch Nails sounds a lot more like Korn than I think people realize. Yeah, I wholeheartedly stand by that. All right, this one's interesting. What is it about Cleveland? Seriously. LeBron James names himself the chosen one. Johnny Manziel names himself both Money Manziel and Johnny Football. And Shedeur Sanders is legendary. There's something about that place and polarizing figures who deem themselves a name or a nickname or a moniker of some type. Yeah, I don't know what it was that made me realize that, but God, isn't that so interesting? Yeah, I mean, you either love or hate those guys, but they all kind of come in with baggage, whether you like them or not, and it's just interesting that they all end up in Cleveland. Football is starting to become unwatchable. All it is swing passes, halfback screens, wide receiver screens. The top 3 seeds in the NFL, 3 quarterbacks taken in the draft last year. No chance that they're better than Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, or even Lamar Jackson. NBA is always number 1. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Colin Cowherd would agree with me. I think he loves the parody and the worst to first and first to worst and all that. But, there should be a little bit of a passing of a torch, not this 21-year-old acting like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, Mahomes had that, but it was such sustained success that, he kind of got to do that. But, Burrow kind of hit the ground running, but then dealt with injuries. Josh Allen had a really good ramp up. He's probably the most sustained success, but like had like a long ramp in tarmac. Lamar, I mean, he won 2 MVPs, but just flames out in the playoffs. So like that's why you can't anoint these people so early. I think that's kind of the point of this as well. That's definitely a take that I agree with and wholeheartedly stand by. Um, when is that? When is that Uno parlor coming to Atlanta? Yeah, for sure. Good call by me. Still waiting on the answer for that. But the day that happens, I can promise you I'll be standing in line. I'll camp out if I have to. Should we talk about the latest development of the Mom Talk Mormon wives at family dinner this Thanksgiving and/or Christmas? Yeah, I'll just leave that there. Yeah, I'll just leave that there. Well, I guess this one's a little bit risque as well. Still butthurt that I missed out on that Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap sale. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave that one there as well. Boy, I've been on a heater lately. Last 2, 3, 4+ weeks, I guess. And last one here. You know how I feel about Spotify Wrapped coming out 3 days into the last month of the year. Makes literally zero sense. Think about all the artists, including Christmas music, that can spike and adjust your albums and top ranked artists and songs. Make it the second week at least, if not further, out of respect for those people as well as people releasing music the last month of the year. Yeah, I mean, that's a hill I'll die on. I'd be happy to have that argument or discussion with someone just to hear about the maybe I guess the argument against it would be they don't want Christmas music to overwhelmingly adjust people's playlist and top songs, top artists. I guess that's a discussion, but that also says a lot about you if you really listen to that once it gets to November and early December. So I see the arguments for both sides, but at the end of the day, I think I kind of agree with my take more than the others. But that's it for this installment. Thanks for joining as always. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time. Thanks, guys.